Okay, you start. 11, you start.
Every day is a good day. There is something to learn. Today is a great opportunity for that. Very pleasure morning to one and all present here. It is great pleasure and honor to welcome you all for this faculty development program on sustainable smart cities. A superior man is modest in his speech but exceeds in his action. I'm glad to invite our special guest, Dr. S. Rajmohan. He has completed his Bachelor of Engineering in the stream of Civil and done his ME Environmental and also completed his PhD in Environmental Engineering. And also he served as a Associated Professor in Tyagaraja College of Engineering from 1992 to 2007. He is an amazing person with 23 years of experience in providing environmental services more than 2000 plus industries in South Indian region since 2000. Now he is currently working as a managing director of EnviroCare India Private Limited. Environmental sectors are developing rapidly in India and all over the world. EnviroCare has built a large database of knowledge and enables us to deliver the right solution to address the need of clients. Sustainability has always been a primary focus on the project agendas, and the company ensures the best producers are the in minimized to compact in our environmental. Today he is here to share some knowledge about zero liquid discharge technology in the wastewater treatment. Now I request Dr. S. Rajmohan to deliver his presentation with us. Now the session is yours, sir.
Sir, you can.
Yes, I can. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
shall I start, sir?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Okay. A very good morning to all of you. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Parthiban, Dr. Parthiban, who is my long-time friend, for giving me this opportunity to take the discuss about the zero liquid discharge that is considered to be the latest technologies in the faculty development program. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. Already they have introduced me. Our company name is EnviroCare India Private Limited. It's a 20 years old company. So I am the managing director of the company. And before going to the subject, I'd like to take 1 or 2 minutes about what is about our company all about. Many of you some may be aware, some may not be aware. It's a company started in the year 2000. We have a client base of more than 2,000 industries. We are end-to-end solution provider. And put it in a nutshell, what we are involved. These are the 4 areas we are involved. We are doing consultancy services for industries. So far, starting from some industries are investing 5 lakhs, we do consultancy for them to get the necessary approval from Government of India, Ministry of Environment and Forest, and state pollution control authorities. The investment ranges from 5 lakhs to 7,500 crores investment. We have done a consultancy. We are considered as a NABARD A-grade consultants in India. Second one is we take up the turnkey projects. After completing the consultancy, we do the supply, erection, commissioning of water, wastewater, effluent, and air pollution control equipment. We design, our technology is ours, design is ours, we fabricate, we supply, we supply to industry, see that the plant is commissioned to proper. That is called as turnkey project, including civil work. We do work, last year we have completed around 30-35 projects. So far we have completed around 350 turnkey projects. And the third one is after completion of the turnkey, we take up the operation maintenance of the treatment plant. Very important aspect is, though we supply, the plant has to run. Whatever the input, what is the expected output we have to produce, then only the plant is a full-fledged plant. Currently, we are maintaining around 40 plants in which around 250 people are working. The plant capacity ranges from 10,000 liters to maybe 35 lakh liters per day capacity. We do 3 common effluent treatment plants in Tirupur. And the last one is laboratory services. After implementation of all these things, we will monitor the industry. What is the air quality level, ambient air quality? What is a stack monitoring? What is a groundwater quality? Whether is there change in after the implementation of that one? We have a testing laboratory accredited by NABL, Ministry of Environment and Forest, Bureau of Indian Standards, and the Food Safety Standards Authority of India. Apart from the environmental testing, we have added our laboratory into the food testing. Food testing is a very important one. We do testing from starting from proteins, carbohydrates to all the heavy metals and the pesticides, all these things. We have a GCMSMS, LCMSMS, ICP, all the equipments, which is located, our company is located in Madurai, all our facility. We have employees of more than 350. These are the accreditation certificates we have. We are also a panel agency for Ministry of Urban Development for providing technical support to the cities in the smart city project. So maybe if you have, these are some of the clients, major clients. We work for foundries, textiles, cement industry, sugar industries, distilleries, different type of industries. These are some of the major clients we are showing. And coming to our topic. So I think I have given a brief introduction about our company. Now, when Mr. Parthipan was asking me what is a technology, I am into that. Basically, I am a civil engineer and environmental. I am into the full environmental working in this area. I thought I can share. So many things are there. I thought this ZLD technology is considered to be the latest technology. Now all the companies in Tamil Nadu, nearly 10 to 20% have gone for this technology. Another remaining industries are asked to come into this fold, not only in Tamil Nadu, throughout India. That is why I have decided to give a technology that is the latest technology. What is zero liquid discharge? What do you mean by? So any industry, everybody is aware of effluent treatment plant, and every company, every industry. This is especially related with the industries. I am talking in the context of industries. Every industry has to provide a treatment plant for the waste water generated from their industry. Those are the days, this is being implemented by almost all the industries. What they will do is, or normally they treat the effluent, they'll discharge into the own gardening or into the nearby drain or into the rainwater harvesting, something they will discharge. What happens is, when it is discharged into the ground or something, after 2 years or 3 years, it is not a sewage, it is not a biodegradable, it is a highly non-biodegradable waste. The groundwater quality in most of the places has gone degraded, very degraded. And nowadays, you can see the heavy metals in the water and groundwater. There is a change in the water quality. So the government of India has decided to go for a zero liquid discharge system. 1 second. The government of India has decided to go for a zero liquid discharge system. That means whatever the wastewater generated, it should be treated, and not even a single drop of water should be let into the ground. Everything should be recovered, recycled, and reused for the process. That is called zero liquid discharge system. When you think about the zero liquid discharge system, this is the methodology of zero liquid discharge system. Segregation of effluent by way of contamination of organic load, like that, pre-treatment, removing of total suspended solids, color, and the biological process, BOD, COD reduction. And by using the ultrafiltration reverse osmosis technology, TDS reduction will be happening. Finally, evaporation techniques, we can achieve the zero liquid discharge. So the main thing is, input is wastewater. Input is any trade effluent. The output will be treated effluent, which will be used for process, and you will get a salt. Sludge will come out as a salt. Sludge will come out as a salt. That salt, you will get a water and salt. Salt will be stored and it will be sent to the common disposal facility for disposal, and the water will be recycled, reused in the process. Nowadays, you are aware of, I know Tamil Nadu is a very, with the context of Tamil Nadu, getting a groundwater from our own borewell is restricted. Recently, you would have seen the notice given by the Tamil Nadu government, closure of all the mineral water plants which are withdrawing water from the ground. So getting a water from you may be having your own borewell, own land, but for withdrawal of water, you need to get the permission from the Government of India as per the norms. So the government is trying to reduce the water consumption. Suppose one company, for example, what is the advantage of zero liquid discharge? One company is using 1 lakh liters per day. For example, 30 days, the company is using 30 lakhs of water is consumed. If you take 1 year, almost 3.6 crore liter of water. 3.6 is nothing but 36 million liters of water is consumed per year. One example. If you have a zero liquid discharge technology, definitely I am very confident that you will recover 90% of the wastewater generated. Approximately, the lowest I am taking, 30 million liters of water can be recycled, reused to process, and only you will be withdrawing water only 6 million liters per year for an industry which is using 1 lakh liters. So this is the one way we are conserving the water. Imagine 30 million liters of water you are stopping from taking from ground, means you can understand that how much you will have, you are reserving the water for future generation. If you take 10 industries are doing like that, then you can see that groundwater quality will be better, groundwater potential will be better. That is a main advantage, and you will not have any pollution at all. You will not have pesticides or heavy metals in the water which we are drinking. So there are so many advantages. That is why Tamil Nadu government has given instructions to many Ambur, Vaniyambadi, tanneries and Tirupur textile industries, wherever the effluent is generated. Maybe it may be a effluent from textile or sugar or power, whatever it is, zero liquid discharge system is required. So coming to the case study, zero liquid discharge plant, I thought I can, instead of talking about so much of technology, I wanted to take it as since we are in the industry, I wanted to take one industry which we have implemented the project, textile industry. Textile industry, the proposed ZLD capacity is 150 kiloliters per day. Operation hours is 20 hours. The flow is 7.5 kL. So whenever you design a ZLD project, you need to consider two important things. One is about the quality and about the quantity. Quantity and quality determines the system. When you are designing 150 KL, if you are going to supply 250 or 300 KL, you cannot run the plant. The plant will be overloaded. If you have if you are sending only 50 KL instead of 150 KL, then you will be underutilizing the plant. So both the things will affect the plant efficiency. And the second most important thing is quality. Quality determines. You cannot see the plant should be designed for particular quality. pH, TSS, BOD, chemical oxygen demand, dissolved solids. Apart from this, so many parameters are there. That will be a lengthy lecture. but I am taking the main parameters to be considered in design of ZLD for any textile processing effort. So these are the parameters: total TSS, BOD, COD, TDS, all these things. Generally, the textile effluent will have these characteristics. The main problem with the textile industry is the TDS will be, here I have put the 2500, sometimes it may go up to ordinary raw effluent will be 4000 milligram per liter. Generally, here I have taken the very low value because this type of industry is generating, but generally 4000 milligram per liter. I wanted to take it to the TDS. TDS is very, very important. For any drinking water, the TDS is 500, normal level. For all the mineral water plants, the TDS is all the water supplied by mineral water plants, that is equal to 50 or 60 milligram per liter. So when it is 4000 milligram per liter, many places in wherever the industries are more, if you test the existing groundwater quality, the TDS is around 4000 or 3000 because of the indiscriminate discharge of effluent into the ground. So TDS is a very important parameter to be considered for any type of effluent, especially textile effluent. It has to go through the chemical treatment and anaerobic treatment, membrane bioreactor after RO. It will be passing through the treatment plant, ultrafiltration, RO plant, and the third one is evaporation. We can divide it into three parts. Stage 1 is treatment of removing the color, removing the chemical impurities, removing the sludge to some extent. We cannot remove the TDS in the pre-treatment. Pre-treatment is ordinary effluent treatment plant. So based on the quality, quantity, we will design all the treatment systems. And I'll explain all that. And the second one is, part 2 is ultrafiltration and RO plant. Ultrafiltration RO plant will remove the purpose of both the things is to remove the very suspended solid, fine suspended solids, and also predominantly TDS. And after that, the last one is evaporation technology. Evaporation will segregate the reject effluent into two things. One is distilled water and another one is salt. So these are the three stages or three phases involved in the ZLD. I'd like to mention about the ETP, first stage. Generally, I'm talking about the textile effluent. These are the systems we have: raw effluent, screen chamber, equalization tank, mixing tank, primary clarifier, buffer tank, upflow anaerobic sludge blanket reactor, and the mixing tank, secondary settling, aeration tank, membrane bioreactor technology tank, treated wastewater to RO plant. What is happening in this? The effluent is sent to the equalization all the wastewater is collected and it is equalized. Then it is taken to the primary clarifier, adding chemical dosing. Based on the lime alum, polyelectrolytes will be added based on the quality of the effluent. The dosing system will be adjusted. When it is passing through the primary clarifier, the purpose of primary clarifier is remove the suspended solids. And we have upflow anaerobic sludge bracket reactor. This is an anaerobic system by which you can reduce the COD and BOD to some extent. When the COD and BOD is more, the aeration is very, very important. And when the BOD is more, we need to have a upflow anaerobic sludge blanket reactor anaerobic system, followed by aerobic system is important for any treatment system. So this is the basic system which I wanted to explain. Generally, we have designed this system. This company is a German-based company, and they wanted to put up a plant. I do not want to mention the name of the plant, but they wanted to put up a plant in Tamil Nadu. So we have designed this system, and finally sludge dewatering system. Whatever the sludge which is generated from the clarifier mechanism, that will be taken to the filter press. And I think second one is, first one is ETP, second one is about the RO plant. RO plant, we have 3 stages of RO plant: ultrafiltration and ultrafiltration. Here we have not considered ultrafiltration because already we have given membrane bioreactor technology. There are 3 stages of RO plant we have given: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage, and you will get a finally reject, and followed by mechanical evaporator and other thing. Second phase and third phase are explained. Here, the input RO feed quantity will be 150 kiloliters. You will get the TDS input is 2500. Totally, when it is passing through the first stage, second stage, and third stage, finally, when it is put together from the RO plant, the permeate will be 136.35 kL. So, out of 150, you are able to recover, I was mentioning, almost 90%. Almost 91% of water you are able to recover. And the very important point you should note here is the TDS will be less than 500 milligram per liter. The raw effluent TDS will be, initially it was 2500. Now it has come down to less than 500. It may be 100 or 250 or 300. So you are able to recover 136.35 KLD of effluent, treated water, and also with the TDS of less than this. This is as good as the drinking water. You can very well use it for your entire process. So this is what happening in RO plant. RO plant is reverse osmosis plant, is a plant which will segregate the treated effluent and also reject. There are 2 input is 1. There are 2 output. One is permeate, which will be used for process. The reject, which will have a high TDS. If you see the column, RO reject is 13.65 kiloliters, but you see the TDS is dissolved solids is almost 25,000 milligram per liter TDS. 25,000 milligram. Imagine 2,500 become 25,000 milligram per liter. Imagine the reject. This much of reject, if it is sent into the ground, definitely the groundwater quality will get degraded immediately. See, the TDS quality of TDS of sea water will be around 50,000 to 55,000 milligram per liter. It is equal to the sea water. So second one is the reject, this much of wastewater reject. This is going to the evaporator having a capacity of 1000 liters per hour capacity. This is called the mechanical evaporator. Many of you are aware of this mechanical evaporator. Mechanical evaporator is a system you can evaporate. This will evaporate the highly concentrated reject effluent. You will get a distilled water, permeate, and also salt. There are 2 things you will be getting it. You will be getting a RO product water, which will have a TDS of less than 500, and you will have a salt. You will get a salt because mechanical evaporator is a connectively. It is followed by agitated thin film dryer. I'll show some of the photographs which we have installed. From the mechanical evaporator, the reject gets concentrated further and again taken to the agitated thin film dryer. In the dryer, it is converted into salt. So you are getting input is 150 KL. The permeate is approximately 136.35 KL, which can be used for process. And the salt output will be 20 kg per hour. If you are running a plant for 10 hours, you will get a salt of 200 kg of salt, which cannot be used for any process except in the common disposal facility. You cannot use it for any other process. So these are the three things. Input, you will get a two output, salt and distilled water or water which can be used for process. And these are some of the tanks, maybe these are the tanks which will be constructed for the implementation of this project. This is the process flow diagram. This is the process flow diagram. Pre-treatment, screening, chemical treatment, anaerobic treatment, chemical treatment. I was mentioning about the first phase. First phase is collection tank. This is how the effluent is coming, what are the tanks units involved. Pre-treatment, removal of chemicals or suspended solids in this process. Removal of BOD, COD is happening in this tank. Anaerobic treatment, upflow anaerobic, and again further removal of whatever the chemical impurities which is not removed in the primary process, which will be removed in the secondary process. So this is and finally you will have a MBR will remove the very fine suspended solids. So these are the three things which is involved in this particular textile industry. This is a sludge drying bed. Whatever the sludge which is coming out, this will be dried into the sludge drying bed, followed by filter press. And second phase is RO plant 1, 2, 3. 3 stages of RO plant. All the RO plant, I do not want to go in depth about the RO plant. I am telling the purpose of RO plant is to reduce or remove the total dissolved solids from the wastewater. And the third one is double stage evaporator and followed by agitator. These are the evaporation technology. Double stage evaporator, one single stage. This is a double stage. Based on the quantity, we will design the two-stage evaporator. In this, how it is getting evaporator? Input is wastewater and steam. Steam from the boiler is necessary for evaporating this one. You will get 3 output. One is water and only 2 output. Input is steam and highly reject effluent. Output is clear water which can be used for process, and also reject water which will be taken to the agitated thin film dryer, ATFT. ATFT also the highly reject or concentrate effluent from the evaporator will be sent to the agitated thin film dryer. From the dryer, it will be segregated into salt and treated water. So this is what happening in these are the hydraulic flow diagram related with the pre-treatment, and the RO plant and the evaporator, agitated thin film technology. And coming to I'll go back to the implementation process. Is it visible, sir? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, one second. I'm connecting with the slides. I'm not able to see the slides. One second. This is the zero liquid discharge system, ETP. I was mentioning about the ETP, how the ETP looks like. This is the plant, this is another plant, but ETP will be like that only. This is a racking arm system, and these are the parts of ETP. And coming to the second system, ultrafiltration, followed by sometimes people prefer, company prefer UF or may not prefer. And this is called ultrafiltration and RO plant. This is a project which we have implemented. This is also RO plant. And very important thing is mechanical evaporator. Mechanical evaporator, the total height will be around 50 feet from the ground level. You can see the evaporator. This is made of SS316. Made of SS316. All wetted parts will be 316. All the other parts will be 304 SS. And you can see the ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. Again, third floor, you can see the height. So there are two. This is a two-stage evaporator. The falling one is falling film, another one is forced circulation. And as I have mentioned, the steam is input and the reject is input, and you will get the salt and treated in another things. This is the overall plant of. This is a combination of ETP is not here, RO and evaporator. And this is you can see the this is the arrangement by which you will get the salt from the particular plant. You are able to see the slides, sir? I am not getting it.
No, sir. The screen is fully white.
Wait, I'll check.
If that imagery is high capacity means it will take some time, I think.
Okay. Now it is. And now I think you can see the. This is a multi-stage evaporator. Just go down. The image. Now you can see the slides, multi-stage evaporator, cooling tower, EF and RO shed with the mini lab. This is the overall top view of the plant. So,
Screen sensitivity.
Slide open. Close control. Sorry. No problem. Windows. Wait. அடுத்த ஸ்லைடு பின்னாடி பின்னாடி கடைசி ஸ்லைடு கூட 35 38 பண்ணாம இருக்காங்க. இதுல ஸ்லைடுக்கு போய் கடைசியில போய் இங்க என்ன இதுல நிறுத்தலாம்ல. ஹலோ ஹலோ ஹலோ
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Yeah, to conclude, I have shown all the slides and other things. So finally, you may ask about the commercial aspects, whether the project is viable. There's a big question, whether the evaporator zero liquid discharge. You can see the cost, power cost, chemical cost, steam cost, manpower, overall cost. For evaporating 1 liter of effluent, you will be requiring 0.16 rupee. That is 16 paise per liter. Now people are going for initially 10 years back it was 2 rupees, again 150, again 1 rupee. Now people are running the evaporator with 30 paise, 25 paise. We can run this type of plant, we can run it with 16 paise per liter. So this is a very important aspects, and I think I have covered some of the important points, maybe slides, the photos and other things. It is we are not able to move that. So with these few slides, I just wanted to thank all the participants for listening to my lecture. If you have any questions, I am ready to answer. Hello? Hello? Is it audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Yeah, I have completed my presentation, and
Thank you,
okay.
sir. Thank you, sir. It was a very informative and brief session on zero liquid discharge technology. Now the participant can post your questions in the chat box.
Okay.
And the first question from Manu Ranjani, sir. Can I ask? What
Okay.
are the chemicals especially used in this plant?
The chemicals mainly used for lime, alum, polyelectrolytes mainly, and the ferrous sulfate also, and the anti-scalant chemicals to remove the scaling in the RO plant. These are the chemicals we normally use for any ZLD plants.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And another question from Ratnavel.
Okay.
Can zero liquid discharge technology be adopted for sanitary sewage for smart city projects, or it is suitable only for industrial waste?
So only for zero liquid discharge system can be adopted for any. There are two types of wastewater. One is sewage, another one is industrial effluent. Mainly, since the investment cost is very huge. So, for example, 150 KL of effluent, which I have made a percentage of the investment cost is 5 crores. So, investment cost is high, and also recurring cost is 16 paise. The case of sewage, normally we don't recommend zero liquid discharge in the case of other things because of the cost aspects. Investment cost will be high, running cost will be high. So that is why we don't recommend. In case if you are very particular, there is no problem in going for a ZLD for sewage also.
Thank you, sir. And next question from Dr. J. Hemalini. What is the area required to send up the plant?
This 150 KLD of plant requires an area of maximum 500 square meter, approximately 5,000 square feet.
Thank you, sir. And next question from Dr. G. Shanti. Shall I know the pH value for normal drinking water and wastewater pH value after treated, sir?
Can you repeat the question? What is the normal?
Shall I know the pH value for normal drinking water and
So first question I will answer. See, first question, normal pH value for the drinking water 6.5 to 8. Okay,
sir. And wastewater pH value after treated.
Wastewater, which wastewater? This wastewater, normally the ranges will be from 5.5 to 9.
Okay, sir. And next question from Madhu. How can we achieve zero liquid discharge for household waste?
So that is a different aspects. Household waste also, that's a possibility of going for a zero liquid discharge. But that is a separate. As household, you will get a sewage. Household, you will get a solid waste. These are both the things. Both the things it is possible, but that is a separate topic. Maybe I will discuss it with you. May not be relevant to this topic. That is also possible. That is possible. We are not working in that particular area.
Okay, sir. And next question from Tirumalai Kumar. Which type of membrane specially suitable better performance of MBR?
MBR, many membrane, hydronautics membrane, the membranes which are manufactured, all the membranes are imported membrane. Some membranes are locally manufactured membrane. So based on the customer requirement, there are two aspects. One is quality and the cost. Some customer require, sir, I want this type of membrane. We will recommend hydronautics membrane, means we will supply hydronautics membrane. Some that will be costly. Some people, sir, we want the cost to be low. You can go for any membrane. So based on the customer request and also quality of effluent, we will decide the membrane type and cost.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And next question from Uday Kiran. Is this technology used for treating of agriculture wastewater, and how affordable it will be for farmers?
So I am repeating the same. The agriculture waste, it is not recommended. This is not an affordable technology. I told already, investment cost is huge. Investment for 150 kiloliters of wastewater, 1.5 lakh liters, you require a amount of 5 crores. And this much of amount recurring cost is power consumption and other things will be there. It is not recommended for agriculture waste and also higher quantity. Only we recommend it for industries.
Thank you, sir. And next question from Srinivasa Murthy. Sir, we are using RO purifiers in our houses. Is it safe for use? Somebody says it will remove all the essential minerals also. It is real case of RO?
So definitely RO plant, RO treated water, RO, using the RO water, our immunity level will go down, strictly speaking. Everybody, even I am using the RO water, there is no other alternative. Suppose in houses, everybody is going for an RO plant. RO plant, the treated water will remove, RO will remove the TDS and other minerals from the input water. But our body requires minimum minerals. So that is why in the mineral water, they will put, it consists of some added minerals. It consists of added minerals. We have to add minerals after the RO plant. That is why it is called mineral water. But we have to design a RO system in such a way that all the minerals are not removed. TDS is maintained. All these things are required. My recommendation is, if you are very comfortable, better not to go for an RO plant. Better to drink a normal corporation water with a disinfection system and drink it. If you have a problem with the salt, there is no other alternative. RO is not a best solution, but we don't have any other alternate solution. That is why we are going for an RO plant.
And next question from Madhu Sudhana Reddy. Sir, at the end we are getting water and salt. Does these do not comfortable, or shall we have to treatment also?
Can you repeat the question?
At the end we are getting water and salt. Does these do not contaminate, or shall we have to treatment also?
No, sir. Finally you will get a water and salt. Salt cannot be used. Salt will be sent to the common disposal facility. That cannot be used everywhere, anywhere. That has to be properly disposed as per the guidelines of the pollution control board, respective pollution control boards.
And Sandeep Kaushik asked the question. First of all, thank you so much for this information section. My question is, during flood, chlorine tablets are distributed for filtering water. Is the water received using this tablet fully safe to drink? What is the pH value of the water?
So chlorine is one method of disinfection. So that method, I'm not very sure about the credibility of that method. Normally, disinfection, ultraviolet ray, UV treatment, ozone treatment is required. That if you have only chlorine treatment or disinfection, that is a safe water. But that will not remove the TDS or any other chemicals in the water. So we need a technology to remove the TDS, and also disinfection is also important. Chlorine will remove only the disinfection, not TDS or something. Suppose if a groundwater is 1500 milligram per liter TDS, that will not remove the TDS at all. So that means you are drinking a salt water. But what is the meaning of removing only pathogens and drinking a salt water? So chlorine will remove only the disinfectants or pathogens. Yes.
And another question from Dr. G. Shanti. Instead of wastewater treatment, we can go for seawater, may be converted to drinking purpose. Which method is cost effective?
The desalination plant is I don't say it is a cost effective. Per liter, it is costing 50 paise per liter. Seawater desalination plant is a very costly process. 50 paise per liter is required for operation maintenance of the plant, and also bringing the seawater. See, Chennai, it is possible. The locations which are close to sea, it is possible to supply. but the industry, the location which are inland, inside the land, it is very difficult to transport the water. So desalination, again, it is a costly process.
Thank you, sir. And next question from Dr. Gopal. Is it for industrial wastewater effluent plant only or domestic wastewater treatment as well?
This is only for industrial wastewater,
Yes.
not for domestic.
And next question from Tirumalai Kumar. What are the main challenges of zero liquid discharge plant while in operation?
What are the main disadvantages? here?
Challenges.
Challenges is investment. Everybody is not willing to invest 5 crores of rupees. For example, 150 KL letters. Challenges is one is investment. The company should be in a position to invest. Another one is operation maintenance. Operation maintenance, 10 years back, it was difficult, but that's what operation maintenance has come down. Previously, 2 rupees per liter. Now it has come down to 15 paise to 20 paise per liter. The maintenance cost has come down very drastically. Only thing is investment is costly. Investment aspect, it is slightly costlier than, or 3 times, 4 times costlier than other methods.
Thank you, sir. Next question from Sweta. Is there any possibility to convert seawater into drinking water?
100% possible. Already plants are there. Desalination is the system which will convert the seawater into drinking water. Everywhere in Tamil Nadu, Chennai, many metro water, many desalination plants are in working condition. Only thing is slightly costly.
Thank you, sir. And next question from Nikhil. Can saline water be converted to drinking water using a similar technology? What is the present scenario of saline water to drinking water conversion in India?
What is you can repeat the question? What is the? Repeat
Can
the
saline
water, same thing. Saline water, sea water, all water. It is 100% possible to convert the sea water, saline water, salt water into drinking water. Only thing is reject will be more. Suppose sea water, you wanted to treat 1 lakh liters of take in inlet 1 lakh liters per day your requirement. You need to supply 2 lakh liters. 50% or 60% will go out as a waste, which will have a high TDS. Since it is in the city, you are sending back to the sea. But if you are discharging the land, again it will spoil the environment. Sea water desalination plant converting sea water into drinking water, 100% possible. But cost, it is a costly process.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Our next question from Dr. Saravana.
Yeah.
Please share success story and failure of ZLD as applied to in-centralized STP implemented in smart cities. What are the implements if ZLD is existing under smart city scheme? Kindly share us the playbacks and it's self-relevant under norms and guidelines.
It is not implemented. A smart city projects are related with the sewage, not related with the industrial effluent. They don't consider industrial effluent. They go by the ordinary simple sequential patch reactor technology. They are not going for a ZLD technology. They treat the wastewater, they are discharging into the drainage or some gardening or something. So smart city projects are not involved in ZLD systems.
Thank you, sir. And next question from Santosh. Is it possible that wastewater generated from a town really be treated such a way it called as zero discharge?
City waste, that is what I have discussed is only the effluent from the industry. City, lot of quantity of almost all the wastewater is not treated based on the municipality, based on the corporation system, their capacity they are treating. I think that is a separate topic. The treatment of municipal sewage treatment is a separate topic. That They may treat 100%. I don't think any corporation municipality is treating 100%. They may be treating 20% or 30%, 40% because of their availability of systems and other things.
Our next question from Gleason.
Hmm.
How much the ZLD is effective in our country and other nations?
In India, it is effective. Previously, 20 years back, it was 10%. Now it is 20%. Now almost 50% of the industries have installed. The cost has come down. Definitely, it is the performance is improved a lot. Operation maintenance cost has come down. Investment also reduced. And in another 10 years down the line, definitely it is going to rule over all the industries, the ZLD technology. I'll take
Thank you, sir.
2 questions, madam. At 10 o'clock, I have at 11 o'clock, I have another meeting. I wanted to close by 10 o'clock.
Okay, sir. And next question from Srinivasamurthy.
Okay.
What is the minimum TDS standard for drinking water?
Minimum?
TDS standard for drinking water.
Minimum is 500. For drinking water, at least, see, 2000 till 2000 milligram per liter, it is recommended, but 500, less than 500 milligram per liter, TDS is recommended for drinking.
And next question from Hemalini. With dye industry wastewater, it is possible to remove the color with this method.
Yes, as I have already told, the color and odor will be removed in the, that is why we are adding lime, alum, polyelectrolyte. In that, color and sulfur solids will be removed. Color is 100% possible. An activated carbon method by which color can be removed.
And the last question from Gopal. It is suitable for sugar factory and thermal power plant.
Yes, it is useful. Definitely, they need to go for a sugar industries. They have to go for this one. Thermal power plant also go for this type of technology. Some companies have gone for this technology. It is a must. It is a must. It is a statutory requirements of sugar and thermal power plants.
Thank you, sir. It was a very brief session on zero liquid discharge technology. And thank you for sharing your wonderful knowledge with us, sir. And thank you, participants. With this, we will conclude this session today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Participants are requested to join the next session by 1:45 p.m.